How likely is it for each UFC champion to become the greatest fighter of all time? That's what we'll be discussing in today's video.
Perfect.
Let's start with Islam Makhachev. He is currently the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, and he's arguably the closest candidate to achieving GOAT, greatest of all time status. I believe he doesn't need many more wins to reach that status. I estimate his chances at 90%. One key factor for Makhachev is the possibility of moving up to welterweight. That move could be the fastest way to cement his legacy, especially if he manages to defeat Jack Della Maddalena, JDM. However, I see the fight against JDM as a very close one. If Makhachev loses, he'll need to return to lightweight and beat tough contenders like Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan, and others. Or try to move up again and win. On the other hand, if he convincingly beats JDM and defends his title once more, I'm confident many people will consider him the GOAT. Makhachev has an incredible track record and high-quality wins. While Anderson Silva and John Jones are often brought up in GOAT conversations, many of their opponents were at a lower level. In today's era, the quality of fighters is much higher, so Makhachev doesn't need as many wins as his predecessors. Next is Ilia Topuria, who I believe has an 80% chance of becoming the GOAT. One potential obstacle is the possibility of early retirement. I think he's fighting mainly to secure financial stability, not necessarily to chase the GOAT title. He also needs to face many strong opponents at lightweight, such as Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. If Islam Makhachev beats JDM and then drops back down to fight Ilia in a massive showdown, and Ilia wins, especially by KO, I wouldn't hesitate to call him the GOAT. That would be a win too big to ignore. That said, Topuria may not be as dominant at lightweight. He might not be able to handle the power of someone like Oliveira, who hits harder than any of Ilia's featherweight opponents. So, I'm keeping his chances at 80%. Next is Dricus du Plessis, DDP, to whom I give a 55% chance of becoming the GOAT at middleweight. If he defeats Khamzat Chimaev, many might already see him as the best in the division given how highly regarded Khamzat is. Even Anderson Silva didn't have a win of that magnitude, but to become the true GOAT, DDP would need to defend his belt multiple times or move up to light heavyweight. And I doubt he could beat someone like Magomed Ankalaev in that division. Speaking of Magomed Ankalaev, I give him an 80% chance of becoming the GOAT. I don't see any current light heavyweights who can beat him in the near future, especially if he wins a rematch against Alex Pereira. 2 wins over Pereira could be enough to make him a strong GOAT contender, especially with a few title defenses. The only thing that might derail him is a move to heavyweight and a fight against Tom Aspinall, as I predict Aspinall would beat him fairly easily. Tom Aspinall, in my opinion, has a 99% chance of becoming the GOAT. If he fights John Jones, even though it's unlikely, and wins, especially in the first round, he'd only need a few more wins to secure GOAT status. His age, 32, might be a limiting factor, but if he fights 3 times a year and keeps finishing fights early, I think he could reach GOAT status fairly quickly. I don't see any current heavyweights capable of stopping him. Next is Merab Dvalishvili, whom I give a 70% chance. He's already close to becoming the GOAT at bantamweight, but to truly solidify that status, he would need multiple title defenses or move up to featherweight and defeat the champion there. Someone like Alexander Volkanovski, but I don't see Merab beating Volkanovski. So his best path is to extend his win streak at bantamweight and continue facing new, challenging opponents. Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, gets a 60% chance from me. If he beats Islam Makhachev, that would be a massive win. But Islam is a lightweight moving up, not a natural welterweight. So JDM would still need to beat several top names like Ian Gary, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Joaquin Buckley. I doubt he can clear out the entire division. He's a very good fighter, but he has more noticeable weaknesses compared to elite names like Islam, Volkanovski, or Adesanya. Finally, Alexandre Pantoja. I give him only a 40% chance. Realistically, it's extremely difficult for a flyweight to be considered the overall UFC GOAT. To gain that recognition, he would almost certainly have to move up to bantamweight and secure big wins there. Given that he's already 35 and relies heavily on physical attributes, that seems unrealistic. I think he'd struggle against fighters like Merab Dvalishvili or Umar Nurmagomedov, who are bigger and physically stronger. So for Pantoja to become the GOAT, he would have to become a double champion, something I see as highly unlikely.